For privacy reasons, names and places have been changed. This story is inspired by true events.
On August 12, 1995, three children, Tomás Restrepo, 11, Carmen Vasquez, 10, and Miguel Santos, 12, disappeared while exploring limestone caves near the Colombian town of Zipaquirá. The friends had been playing in the hills above their neighborhood when they ventured into a cave system that local residents had warned was dangerous and unstable. Search teams from Bogotá spent weeks scouring the underground passages but found no trace of the missing children. For 5 months, their disappearance remained a heartbreaking mystery that devastated the small community outside Colombia's capital. Then, in January 1996, heavy rains caused a landslide that would expose something shocking and finally reveal what had happened to the three friends during their underground adventure. This is the complete story of their disappearance and the geological disaster that uncovered the truth about their fate. August 12, 1995, was a typical summer Saturday in Zipaquirá, a historic town located about 50 kilometers north of Bogotá, famous for its underground salt cathedral and limestone formations. 11-year-old Tomás Restrepo had organized an adventure with his best friends Carmen Vasquez and Miguel Santos to explore the hills and caves that surrounded their working-class neighborhood. The three children were inseparable during school holidays, known throughout the community for their curiosity and love of exploration. Tomás was the natural leader of the group, always suggesting new places to investigate and games to play. Carmen, despite being the youngest, was fearless and eager to keep up with the boys. Miguel, the oldest at 12, was more cautious but loyal to his friends and protective of the younger children. Their parents worked in Zipaquirás salt mines and local businesses, typical of families in the region where mining had been the primary industry for generations. The children were familiar with underground environments from visiting their father's workplaces, but the natural cave systems in the hills presented different and more dangerous conditions than the controlled mining operations. That morning, the trio had told their parents they planned to play in the hills above the neighborhood, a common weekend activity that usually involved building forts, collecting interesting rocks, or exploring the numerous small caves that dotted the limestone landscape around Zipaquirá. The children departed around 10 a.m. carrying small backpacks with snacks and water bottles, along with flashlights that Miguel had borrowed from his father's mining equipment. Several neighbors saw them walking toward the hills, laughing and excited about their planned adventure in the natural playground that surrounded their town. The cave system the children chose to explore was located approximately 2 kilometers from their neighborhood, in an area where limestone formations had created numerous natural caverns over thousands of years. Local residents had long known about the caves but generally avoided them due to concerns about structural instability and dangerous conditions. The particular cave entrance the children discovered was partially hidden by vegetation and had been formed by water erosion that created a network of passages extending deep into the hillside. Recent rains had made the ground soft and muddy, conditions that would prove significant to their fate. Around 2 p.m., Maria Cardenas, a woman collecting firewood in the hills, saw three children matching the friends' descriptions near a cave entrance approximately 500 meters from the main trail. She called out to warn them about the dangers of entering the caves, but the children waved and continued toward the cave opening. This was the last confirmed sighting of Tomás, Carmen, and Miguel. When they failed to return home by 6 p.m., their parents initially assumed they had lost track of time during their adventure, a common occurrence with children exploring the extensive hills around Zipaquirá. However, as evening approached without any sign of the three friends, families began searching the most common play areas and calling out their names throughout the neighborhood. By 8 p.m., when darkness made further searching impossible, parents contacted local authorities about their missing children. The initial search began on August 13th with Zipaquirá police coordinating efforts to locate the three missing children. Local knowledge about the cave systems was crucial, as many residents had explored the areas as children themselves and understood both the attractions and dangers the caves presented. Search teams focused on the cave systems where Maria Cardenas had seen the children, though the limestone formations included numerous interconnected passages that made systematic searching extremely challenging. The caves extended deep into the hillside with multiple levels and chambers that required careful navigation to explore safely. Professional cave rescue specialists from Bogotá arrived on August 14th with equipment and expertise necessary for underground search operations. The team included members experienced in Colombia's complex cave systems, though each location presented unique challenges that required careful assessment and planning. Initial exploration of the cave where the children were last seen revealed a complex network of passages with varying ceiling heights, narrow openings, and chambers filled with loose rock and debris. The recent rains had made conditions particularly treacherous, with muddy floors and unstable formations throughout the system. Search dogs were brought in to detect human scent in the underground passages, but the cave's moisture and air circulation patterns made scent tracking extremely difficult. The limestone environment also created acoustic conditions that made it hard to hear calls for help from trapped victims. The search operation expanded over the following 2 weeks to include multiple cave systems in the area, as investigators considered the possibility that the children had entered one cave and exited through a different opening. The interconnected nature of limestone cave networks meant that underground travel could cover significant distances. Community volunteers joined professional searchers, with local miners contributing expertise about underground conditions and safety procedures. The search became a community-wide effort that reflected the close-knit nature of Zipaquirá, where everyone knew the missing children and their families. Advanced search techniques available in 1995 were limited compared to modern capabilities, but teams used specialized underground communication equipment, portable lighting systems, and rope rescue gear to access the most challenging areas of the cave networks. Weather conditions complicated the search efforts, as continued rainfall made many passages more dangerous and potentially impassable. The cave's drainage patterns meant that water levels could change rapidly, creating hazardous conditions for both searchers and any trapped victims. After 3 weeks of intensive searching involving over 100 personnel, the formal rescue operation was scaled back. The cave systems had been explored as thoroughly as possible with available technology, but no evidence of the children had been discovered despite extensive efforts. Throughout the remainder of 1995, families and community members continued periodic searches and maintained hope that the children might somehow be found alive. The case generated significant media attention throughout Colombia, highlighting the dangers that natural cave systems could present to curious children. Local authorities implemented new safety measures around known cave entrances, including warning signs and physical barriers designed to prevent children from entering dangerous areas. The tragedy prompted discussions about community safety and supervision of children's activities in rural areas. The 3 families struggled with the uncertainty of not knowing their children's fate while dealing with the presumption that Tomás, Carmen, and Miguel had died in the cave system, but their bodies remained hidden in unexplored passages or chambers. December 1995 brought unusually heavy rains to the Zipaquirá region as part of a weather pattern that affected much of central Colombia. The limestone hills absorbed massive amounts of water that saturated the underground formations and destabilized geological structures throughout the area. January 15, 1996, dawned gray and rainy, continuing a weather pattern that had persisted for several weeks. The saturated ground and limestone formations in the hills above Zipaquirá had reached critical saturation levels that would soon trigger geological consequences. Around 3:30 p.m. on January 15, heavy rainfall combined with unstable geological conditions caused a massive landslide in the hills where the children had disappeared 5 months earlier. The landslide moved thousands of tons of earth and rock, dramatically altering the landscape and exposing areas that had been hidden underground. Local residents reported hearing a tremendous rumbling sound followed by the crash of falling rocks and debris. The landslide was visible from the town below, appearing as a brown scar across the green hillside where vegetation and topsoil had been stripped away by the geological event. Emergency responders arrived to assess the landslide damage and ensure that no homes or residents were threatened by continuing geological instability. However, what they discovered in the landslide debris would provide shocking answers to the 5-month-old mystery of the missing children. Exposed in the landslide debris were sections of the cave system where the children had disappeared, including chambers and passages that had been completely inaccessible to search teams. The geological event had essentially excavated parts of the underground network, revealing areas that no human searchers could have reached. Among the exposed cave debris, rescue workers discovered personal items that immediately caught their attention: a child's backpack, flashlight, and clothing that appeared to match descriptions of items the missing children had been carrying on August 12. The discovery prompted immediate investigation by police and forensic specialists who carefully excavated the landslide debris to recover evidence and any human remains that might be present. The exposed cave sections provided the first concrete evidence about what had happened to Tomas, Carmen, and Miguel. Within the landslide debris, investigators found the skeletal remains of 3 children positioned in what appeared to be a natural chamber that had been completely sealed off from the main cave passages accessible to searchers. The chamber's location explained why extensive search efforts had failed to locate any trace of the missing friends. Personal items recovered with the remains definitively identified them as belonging to the 3 missing children. The items included clothing, shoes, and personal belongings that families recognized, providing closure after 5 months of uncertainty about their fate. Forensic analysis revealed that the children had become trapped in the sealed chamber when a previous, smaller cave-in had blocked their exit route while they were exploring. The chamber had contained enough air for them to survive initially, but they had been unable to escape or signal for help from the isolated underground space. Evidence suggested the children had survived in the chamber for several days after becoming trapped, rationing their snacks and water while hoping for rescue. Their positioning indicated they had stayed together and tried to comfort each other during their ordeal. The landslide that exposed the children's fate was determined to be the result of geological processes that had been ongoing for months following the heavy rains of August 1995. The same weather conditions that had made the caves dangerous for exploration had eventually destabilized the entire hillside formation. Geological experts explained that limestone cave systems were inherently unstable and subject to collapse, particularly during periods of heavy rainfall when water infiltration could weaken rock formations and trigger cave-ins that trapped or killed anyone inside the passages. The children's deaths were determined to be accidental, resulting from natural geological processes that would have been impossible to predict or prevent. Their curiosity and adventurous spirit had led them into a natural environment that appeared safe but contained hidden deadly hazards. The discovery brought closure to the 3 families and the Zipaquirá community, which had been haunted by the mystery for 5 months. While learning the circumstances of the children's deaths was devastating, the knowledge allowed proper burial and grieving processes to begin. Community leaders used the tragedy to implement comprehensive safety education about cave exploration and geological hazards in the region. The children's story became a powerful teaching tool about the importance of heeding warnings about dangerous natural areas. The landslide that revealed the children's fate also exposed the limitations of 1995 search technology in complex geological environments. Modern ground-penetrating radar and advanced cave mapping techniques might have detected the sealed chamber, but such equipment wasn't available for the original search operation. Local authorities implemented new safety measures around cave systems throughout the region, including physical barriers, warning signs, and regular geological assessments to identify areas where natural hazards might threaten public safety. The 3 children's families established a memorial foundation supporting geological safety education and cave rescue training throughout Colombia. Their tragedy became a catalyst for improved emergency response capabilities in similar environments. The case highlighted the unpredictable nature of geological hazards and the need for constant vigilance around natural formations that could appear safe but contain hidden dangers. The children's deaths served as a reminder that natural environments demand respect and caution. Professional cave rescue organizations used the case to develop improved search protocols for sealed or inaccessible chambers that might trap victims beyond the reach of conventional search techniques. The tragedy contributed to advancement in underground rescue capabilities. The landslide area was eventually stabilized and converted into a memorial park honoring Tomas, Carmen, and Miguel's memory while serving as an educational site about geological hazards and cave safety for future generations of children. The story of Tomas Restrepo, Carmen Vasquez, and Miguel Santos serves as both a tragedy and an important lesson about the hidden dangers that natural environments can present to curious children. Their love of exploration and adventure led them into a geological trap that claimed their lives despite their friendship and mutual support. The 5-month delay in discovering their fate illustrates how completely natural disasters can conceal evidence while simultaneously revealing it through unpredictable geological processes. The landslide that exposed their chamber was itself a product of the same weather conditions that had made cave exploration dangerous. For Colombian emergency services and geological monitoring organizations, the case provided crucial insights into the relationship between weather patterns, geological stability, and public safety in limestone regions. Improved monitoring and warning systems were developed partly in response to this tragedy. The persistence of families and community members in maintaining hope and continuing to search for answers contributed to the recognition of the landslide discovery as significant evidence. Their 5 months of uncertainty ended with devastating but necessary closure. The case demonstrates how natural curiosity and the desire for adventure can encounter geological hazards that are impossible for children to recognize or avoid. While the three friends' exploration reflected normal childhood behavior, it also highlighted the need for better education about environmental dangers. Geological research continues in the Zipaquirá region, with scientists now more aware of both the cave system's natural beauty and the potential dangers they present to visitors. The intersection of geology, emergency response, and community safety provides ongoing lessons for protecting future generations. As of 1996, new safety protocols require geological assessment of cave systems near populated areas, ensuring that natural hazards are identified and properly marked before they can claim additional victims. The three children's deaths established procedures that help protect other young explorers from similar fates. Their story continues to educate Colombian communities about cave safety and geological awareness, while their memory lives on through the safety improvements that resulted from their tragic encounter with the unpredictable forces of nature hidden beneath the beautiful limestone hills of Zipaquirá.